Yo, welcome Flyffers to another video. In this video we are going to take a look at all the new dungeons that are currently being teased step by step in different streams by the official Flyff Universe staff. And in the end we will also take a look at a new way to actually re-roll your pets, which are currently extremely expensive, for a pretty cheap value. All you need is a bit of luck. And I will try to explain how to actually prepare for the expansion, because we know that, like, based on the stock report, it's only like 1 month away at max. So you should slightly start to prepare. But now let's get started with some additional information. So currently 3 dungeons, like 2 dungeons actually, have been showcased on stream. And the third one, Storm Peak, has already been teased a little. All dungeons have a cooldown of 1 hour, but we will get to it later why the cooldown is actually not important. So Lyrium Chasm is level 15 to 30, Rise's Catacombs level 31 to 60, and Storm Peak is level 121, and supposed to be the highest dungeon, like the endgame one. Now you could already think about, oh damn, like I can't enter those dungeons, like what am I going to do if I'm 140? Is this 121 dungeon the only one that I'm going to be able to farm? And this is actually not the case. So they introduced something, it's called dungeon difficulties, which means the higher the difficulty, the better your drop rates and stuff like this. It's not changing a lot basically what kind of items you're getting, at least not yet. They may add something in the future that, like, specific items are only be able to obtain at a high difficulty. And yeah, we have already talked about the master system, and the master system can be cheesed to do lower level dungeons. So we have talked about the master system before. I will try to explain it really shortly. If not, just watch the old video. I will put it up here. If you are 140, let's say, well, let's make this as an assumption. You are 140 and you want to farm a level 60 dungeon. If we go back, the level 60 dungeon is Rises of Catacombs. If you really want to farm this, you can go to the volcano, accept the silver master quest that sets you to level 60. Then you can farm the dungeon. And if you don't complete the master quest and you're not interested in it anymore, you can actually cancel the master quest and you will get set back to level 140 like you started. In this way, you can level reduce yourself to actually enter those dungeons, which is pretty nice. And I think, like, yeah, if they would have not introduced anything like this and high level players would only have 1 new dungeon, I think people are going to get bored really fast again. And this way, you actually have grind potential on a game that is supposed to be a grind game genre, right? So that's pretty nice solution right there. Now let's come to the point why I said the dungeon cooldown is completely irrelevant. It actually doesn't matter. So to enter dungeons, you will have to pay, which means you will have to buy dungeon coins from an NPC. At the moment, this is based on Penya. But like, if you do it like once, right, it's not going to be like an insane amount of Penya. Like, it will be affordable, at least that's what they said. But the more often you're buying those dungeon coins, the higher the costs for those will be. So the cost of those dungeon coins will increase exponentially. And this means the limiting factor is most likely not the cooldown. It's most likely the cost, because at a certain point, the dungeon coins, it will be not worth to buy any more dungeon coins because it's so expensive and the drops are not that valuable. So you actually want to go and just wait 1 day, because every day at midnight, the exponential cost of the dungeon points are being resetted again and you can start off. And this way, they are trying to prevent over farming. Or if people actually want to overfarm, they have to pay a bunch of Penya, which then evens out with the amount of items on the server. And if this is well designed and well thought through and the formulas behind the increase are good, then this can actually prevent like items losing value fast pretty nicely, because those increasing costs can always be adjusted to fit the server's needs. So if they don't do it like once, okay, those are the costs, right? And just look how it works and then adjust those costs accordingly to the servers. Maybe like not all global, like every server specifically, because every server has specific needs and a different player base. Then the system can be really good. One thing is those entries are only be paid by the party leader. So we already know, like, you can change the party leader, right? If you're going in there with 8 people, you could do 8 runs and just switch the party leader and do it fairly cheap. So this is the point. If stuff like this is possible, then they may have to add the 1 hour cooldown as an addition, so it doesn't get abused by that many players just rotating party lead or rotating characters. So yeah, maybe the addition with the cooldown and this is a pretty nice deal. What else you can do with the dungeon points is you can buy cursors for the dungeon. This means you buy the curse that makes the dungeon more difficult, but in return you're getting more value out of the dungeon. So let's make an example right here. Monsters have 20% increased speed, but they also take 5% increased damage. So if there is going to be like some kind of dungeon leaderboard, for example, this is like a curse you have to buy, so your party can actually be on top of the leaderboard, because 5% increased damage, right? And if you're like a farmer and you just go there for getting some value, increasing your gear, then you could, for example, buy something like this. All monsters explode on death, but have 5% more drop rate. So this seems decently nice. So there's like different curses for different kind of playstyles and what you actually want to achieve while running those dungeons. Now let's take a look at what those dungeons are actually looting. It's pretty simple. Like, the main drop are the new weapon and shield piercing cards that we've already discussed in another video. This is what people are going to be crazy for as soon as the expansion is released. And to actually upgrade this, you need power dices and G-Pros, and they've been so nice that they added quests that can actually get you power dices and G-Pros by completing dungeons. So depending on how high the value is, we may see some really nice free-to-play edition, or it's just a nice add-on but so low that you will not achieve anything, but this is based on their balancing, we don't know it yet. Then we have some side drops. This is unique weapons. So for example, if you're doing the level 60 dungeon and you kill the end boss, you have a chance to drop a guardian weapon and so on. And for the people that like fashion and skins, all those bosses will have unique weapon skins to them, and also some other skins that you can show by like disabling your CS. And yeah, this is something some people may be really interested in farming, because like in Flyff, a lot of people are into fashion, and especially PvE players, they like to change their fashion a lot. So this may be an additional reason to farm lower level dungeons that actually, like, the items are probably not worth that much to high level players, but they may go to hunt those skins. And the last thing about the looting, it's finally time. You could now start doing dungeons with randoms without having to fear that you're getting scammed, because they will add a rolling system on items with need before greed, which means if they're really going need before greed, I would be interested how they're doing it on the piercing cards. So not too sure yet, but like the general idea is, if you're looking at other games, or let's stay at Flyff Universe, you're having a plate and like a one-handed axe will drop. Let's say a legendary golden axe will drop in the dungeon. Then all plates that are in the party would have priority on the item. And they can say, I need it, right? Because they are the class, so this would be only rolled by them. If they all pass, then everyone can roll. But if it's not a real need before greed system, then you can just decide if you want to roll on the item or if you want to pass. So yeah, I'm really curious what kind of system they're actually bringing out, and if they've not just like used the term without fully understanding it. Now let's finish off the video with something that probably a lot of players have been waiting for, a rework on the pet system that keeps all the old stuff in the pet system but adds an additional way to reroll your pets, where you basically have to pay nothing for it besides the dungeon entry points that you would pay anyway because you want to farm a dungeon. And the way it works is, while you're clearing a dungeon, the normal monsters have a chance to drop the keys, but they are really, that chance is quite low, but the mid bosses and the end bosses are dropping those pet keys. There's 3 different kinds of pet keys, and as you see right here, there is a cage in those dungeons where you can go with those keys and open the cage, and you will actually get a pet into your inventory that can be used for rerolling purposes. So since they're saying it's a reroll pet, I assume the pet you're getting will only be level 1111, but they also said you can get all tiers of pets, but as pets are actually limited to the highest difficulty possible, which means there is a real benefit being able to clear the highest difficulty dungeon with Storm Peak, which is going to be located in Asriel. Okay, if there's any more questions, feel free to ask, comment them below the video. I will try to answer you as fast as possible. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you get all the new informations and you know exactly what to do for the update. So now the last part is actually what should you be preparing for the update. Power dice. Get a big chunk of power dices so you can afford your piercings. You can already stack up G pros or F points in general, since this update is not that much Penya related as for example with the pets, where everyone wanted to have Penya, so they can make their pets. This time you actually need F points, so you can get the max amount of piercings on your weapons and shields. So my suggestion would be that the F-coin prices, as soon as the update hits, because there's going to be a higher demand for F-coin items, will increase. So I recommend already stacking some F-coins or specifically G-pros, because they're going to be sold fairly quickly. And I would also recommend not rolling your pets anymore until we see how well and on what instances you can actually use the new system for. And the next part is I would also put some budget so you actually have Penya in your inventory. So you have a decent amount of Penya available to be able to buy those dungeon entries, because we don't know yet how it's actually going to work. And Gala tends to do mistakes, so maybe if you have a lot of cash early on, you might be able to do some stuff or get a lot more runs in than they actually intended, until they're doing the hotfix 2 weeks later. Yeah, that's it guys. Cheers and have a good